Yeah. All right. How's everybody doing today? Thanks for joining us. I'm John Cal, manager, DM of On Deck Training Center. Got Jack O'Reilly here. He's a freshman at Notre Dame, graduated from EA. So we're just going to go through. I figure everybody's kind of stuck at home and just getting some feedback from some parents that we just wanted to give you guys a bunch of drills to do and we're going to just try to keep it simple, and we're going to try to stick with keeping in mind that it's just a tee, a net, and a bucket of balls, or even no bucket of balls or anything. So we're just going to start pretty basic and work our way up. We'll go through a bunch of drills, and then after we get through, a decent amount of them, we'll just open it up to Q&A and, just fire out, hey, what's a good drill for this? Or if I have this in my garage, what can I do with it, kind of deal. So real quick, I'm just going to start with a couple bullet points on just more of your focus before you start practicing anything. What are we trying to accomplish? So let me see if I can pull this up here.
And just as a quick side note, if at any point you guys can't hear us or something like that, just type in the chat and we'll speak up.
You know how I get to my desktop?
You're in full screen mode.
Okay. Just bear with us here.
So just...
All right. What's going on here? Uh-oh.
Yeah, so then just go minimize the zoom. And then you can pull up here.
All right. Hopefully you guys can see this. Steph, can you see this? All right. So just real quick, how you practice is crucial to development. Practice makes permanent. Pretty simple, right? If you're doing things the wrong way, you're working on the wrong mechanics over and over, you're just going to get worse. You're not even going to stay the same. So make sure you're staying focused on what you're doing and why you're doing it. Perfect practice makes perfect. Stay focused. Every rep, you want to make sure you're focused. Don't take reps off. If you feel that happening, walk away. Pay attention to the details, quality over quantity. Find your weak spots and attack them. Don't just work on the things you're already good at. So especially tee, stuff like that, move the tee around. We'll show you different variations, but we don't want to just sit there and work on belt high fastballs out in front of the middle of the plate, because we don't get those a whole lot. So keep it realistic. If it's a good drill, you should struggle with it in the beginning. If not, you probably already have that part down. So find something else that works on a weak spot. Use the right size equipment, especially with the younger guys. I see this a lot. If the bat's too heavy, it doesn't matter. It's going to mess your mechanics up as it is. So there's nothing wrong with using a wiffle ball bat, an old T-ball bat, whatever. If you're 13, 14 and all of a sudden you have a drop 3, it might be a little heavy for you. Use your old Little League bat while you're doing your drills, just to work on the mechanics. So there's nothing wrong with not using your game bat to do all your drills. Couple motivators, I guess. This is kind of what I always thought of when I didn't feel like doing stuff. When you're not practicing, somebody else is. And I just always kept that in mind when I didn't feel like going out in the backyard. And someday if I come up against that person, they're probably going to win. So again, going with that, don't make excuses. Don't blame it on the weather. Don't blame it on homework and all this. Make time. If it's important to you, you'll make time. And you shouldn't have to rely on your parents to make you do it. That's a big one. And just as we jump into these drills, as a parent, if you're trying to help practice, we don't expect you to see every little detail each swing. So I'd say the biggest thing to focus on is balance. That should be the goal of every practice swing. And in the end, balance means your head stays still, which means your eyes are staying still. So as the ball's moving, if your eyes are moving, now it's going to jump on you a little bit. So if you watch any good hitter, watch videos on YouTube, whatever, watch their head. It barely moves. So when you get done a practice swing, hold your finish. You should be perfectly balanced, and we'll go over what to look for with that. But hold your finish and then take a look at where you're at. Make sure you got to the right spot. Big one, take video. Everybody's got phones, iPads. You know, the pictures don't lie. A lot of times what you feel and what's really happening don't match. So to take video can really give you a lot of insight into what's really happening. Break it down, keep it simple. If, you know, to fix a bad habit, if you swing full speed, it's really hard to fix stuff. So swing slower, swing easier. Start from the end and work your way back. We'll get into that with a couple of drills, what that looks like. Be creative, especially right now. There's not a whole lot you can do. So, you know, mess around with different things. Try it out, see what it feels like. But keep yourself interested. And last, challenge yourself. Sets of 10, right? 1 for 1, 1 for 2, 4 for 5. Make a goal. All right, I want to get 7 for 10 this round and see where you're at. So those are just a couple little bullet points that, I mean, I think that applies to anything that you're trying to get better at. So with that, we'll jump into some of the drills here. Let's figure this out. Here's a young guy.
Stop share, that little red button.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, we're back. All right, so first things first, I'm going to go off my script here.
We can't see you.
Oh. Hang on here. Is that better?
If you want to have on deck screen on, the 3 buttons in the right corner, click pin video, and then you should see the video large.
Yeah, we're good. Just click.
We're good.
Yeah, just change it to speaker view.
We're good.
Got it. Thank you.
Cool. We got it. All right. So real quick, I always recommend warm up. If you have a med ball or something, you can throw, do a little bit of rotational work. Bat, grab 2 bats or put a weight on, just take some swings to get loose. And then, jumping into the stance, I'll just try to go through this pretty quick, but don't overlook it, because if you're not set up right, you're already making it harder than it needs to be. So, couple guidelines. Where to stand. Just at home plate, and I'll show you where to stand when you're hitting off the tee as well. So you've been on deck, you've seen this a million times. Just want to lay the bat down across home plate. Make sure the end of the bat's covering the outside corner. So basically calls plate coverage. So from there, just your front foot should go at the end of the bat. That's how far away from home plate you want to be. Another good trick is then just swing the bat around. We want to be square. I'm a big fan, at least when you get started, start square. Don't be open or closed. And your back foot should go either to the sweet spot or a full bat length, whatever's comfortable. Then after that, it's all about being athletic. So basketball defense, that's kind of like the universal athletic position. Stay low, stay in your legs. A couple points for the hands. Door knocking knuckles lined up. Don't squeeze back too tight. Knob of the bat over your back knee. That's a good marker for where your hand should be. 45-degree angle, 2 straight up and down, 2 flat. And this, obviously, like be in a punch position. We want to stay here as long as we can. And then after that, strides. I won't get too detailed because it's unique to the player, but a good stance is crucial to start. So make sure you take time after each swing to reset your stance, and it's got to be perfect, not close. So we'll go through now just a couple drills. We call them dry swings, where you're just swinging, you're not hitting the ball. So the first one we'll do, Jack will demonstrate, is, you might not be able to do this one at home, but something to keep, get creative if you can, if you're near a field or something. So we'll go bat length away from the mat. And all you're going to do is set the bat on your belly button, pretty much a bat length away from a net or a fence or wherever you're at. And then go ahead, do your stance. And this is going to just work on keeping your hands from casting. And we're just going to take swings from there. Good cue. I like to think about keeping the barrel above your belt so we don't get too loopy. We don't want to swing like around the fence or net. Just a couple of those that just helps feel the hands stay close. So that's pretty good there. Good work there, Jack. Again, holding your finish, seeing where you're at. I still drill. So we do this a lot here. So Jack's basically, he's going to use the T as a marker. All right. So you can use, whether it's a tree in the backyard, a piece of tape on the wall, anything to focus your eyes on. So he's going to set up so that the ball is straight across from his eyes or right across from his nose. And then from here, we're going to just set up in our stance and swing, you know, full speed or whatever. And we're going to stare at the ball and it shouldn't move. And then just see how fast you can go without it moving. So I think this is a big one for especially the young guys. If you take your stride, and obviously with this, go ahead and do one wrong, Jack. So I know it's hard to see from your angle, but if he's lunging, right, he's going to see the ball move backwards, which is, again, our eyes are moving. We don't want that. So, you know, if you need to swing like this, that's slow, to be able to keep that still, start there. You might do your stride and it moved. You got to figure that out before you keep going. So that's a good one to really check to see if your eyes are drifting, your head's moving. Next one from there. This is a goofy one. If you want to add something to it, put a cone. You can use your glove, put it on your head, and just swing. Keep your head still. Swing. See how fast you can swing before it starts falling off. You know, obviously, once you start swinging harder on your follow through, it might come off. But so, and actually, on this next one, Jack, just go ahead and freeze, and I'll kind of go over a good finish. Good. So what I look for when you hold your finish is I'm looking for his head, hip, and his back knee to be in a straight line. I'm going to torch you a little here, a little deeper there. And I actually want him to lock that front leg. There we go. And that's what you're looking for. All right, you guys can see there how it kind of creates a little bit of a pyramid, but you want that back knee close to 90, hip in line, head in line, and that front leg should be locked out with like I think the major league average is about 70 degrees. So that's the finish you want to look for. So when you get done your swing, if you look down and lock your back straight. Okay, so he's locked out. You're probably going to fall back a little because your heel's going to drop. Right, so if I lift my heel and bend here, lock that, that's going to straighten him out. But take that time after you get done the swing. If you're in the wrong spot, fix it so that your body feels the right way to do it instead of reinforcing the wrong mechanics. So that's just one real quick drill. I did this all the time as a little kid. We're not even going to demonstrate it. Just go out in the backyard, throw the ball up and hit it. I mean, I did that as a little kid with a wiffle ball all day long. And I'd go chase the ball, pick it up, hit it, go get it. You'd be amazed how hard, if your head's moving, if you throw the ball up and you drift forward, you're going to miss a lot. So it's that simple. Throw the ball up, hit it. You can use tennis balls. You can use little golf balls, whatever you have. You don't need a net even for that if you have a backyard or find an open field. But, I mean, that's a good, throw it up, hit it, check your finish, okay?
And John, one comment I'll make about dry swings is that, you know, just because we're stuck at home right now, you might tend to overlook it, but when you're in the on-deck circle or in between pitches in a game, what are you taking? It's dry swings. So you'll watch major leaguers in the on-deck circle, watch them in between pitches. They're trying to feel something when they do their dry swings. It's not necessarily going to be a full 100% speed swing, but there's a lot you can learn from just maybe closing your eyes and taking a dry swing and just maybe watching in the mirror. Anyone at home, you don't need a whole lot to just take a dry swing, and it's actually something that you'll get some more body awareness doing it. And it's actually something really important that you should keep doing almost every day.
And with that point, if you're working on the movement, if you're trying to do that while you're trying to hit the ball, that's a lot to think about. So I think when you haven't perfected your mechanics, dry swings are invaluable. I mean, you should do almost maybe more of those than actually hitting the ball, because once the ball's sitting there or it's coming in, you know, your human instincts are going to take over, which tend to be, you know, getting tight in our front arm, pulling our front side out, all those things. So I preach anyone who does lessons here, I swear you got to do 100 swings every day, just dry swings. Do the 100, go hit off the tee, do your toss drills, live, whatever you want to do. But you know, if you can't swing the right way and the ball's not there, I just don't believe that it's going to get better with a ball moving at different speeds, and next thing you know, different pitches are coming in. So you got to perfect the movement. Again, you want to strive for perfection. So those are just a couple quick drills that you don't need anybody with you. You don't need a bucket of balls or any other equipment other than a bat. All right, so now we'll jump into some tee drills, which yeah, the first thing, we're going to work just regular pitch up the middle. Quick trick I'll show you for where to set up, because this is big. I see this a lot where people hit off the tee and they have no idea where they're set up. So I'll show it from this angle, actually. So I'll just do it real quick. So what I'm going to do is hit off the tee, just set up down the middle. I'm going to put the bat on my front hip, okay? And then I'm going to set up pretty much on the ball with the bat in the sweet spot. And that's where I should be. That's going to feel very inside and tight on a lot of guys. So, you know, if you want to give yourself a little bit of relief from there, a little bit back, that's if you're really struggling with it. But again, we want to make contact from this angle. I want to be more here. Right? I shouldn't be extended. So when the tee's in the right spot, it's going to force you to keep your hands close to your body, which is one of the biggest flaws in a lot of swings, is getting long. So make sure you set up in the right spot, check it in between each pitch.
And one thing I'll say also about the tee is that when you get in your stance, you shouldn't move. The tee should move. So if we're ever going to do something with the tee, whether we're going to move it down, up, inside, outside, we're just going to move the tee. We're not going to try and move our position in the box. That way we're keeping that constant, and then we can manipulate the pitch with the tee. So I think that's something really important. I see a lot of young guys that they want to hit the ball inside, they'll get closer to the tee. If they want to hit the ball outside, they'll get further away from the tee. But try and keep where you're standing a constant and just move the tee around from that.
Yep. And that's where I'm just going to close that. Just using something like that, it doesn't matter if you have a home plate or a batter's box. You're just going off of your body compared to where the pitch is. So just, you know, real quick, it varies for, you know, every player. Some people like to start with the hardest pitch first, work their way back to a pitch down the middle. For me, it doesn't matter. Just keep moving the ball around. I like to start with it up the middle, get the feel of my swing, and then work on the harder pitches. But we'll just go ahead, again, take a couple swings real quick, Jack, down the middle.
Just one more comment I'll make is also when I'm trying to hit off the tee, I see a lot of younger guys that they'll stare right at the ball when it's on the tee. And I feel like that is kind of a bad habit, because when the ball is coming in, we're obviously not staring at a zone, then the ball is coming into it. So what I like to do is I like to look out, and then I'll look to the ball as I'm about to swing. That way we're kind of simulating, almost visualizing a pitch coming in, and then we retract to the tee and hit the ball. So I feel like if you're staring at the tee, your whole side of your neck is not in the same position it is when you're watching the ball coming in from a pitcher. So you're missing out on valuable reps that you can visualize a pitch coming in. So that even if you can't have someone throw to you while you're at home, you can visualize a ball coming in and then hit it off the tee. And that's something I take advantage of when I'm alone, don't have somebody to throw it to me.
And then, so again, if we're at home and we have a net or what, a tarp, another good thing with that is as you make contact, think about taking the barrel towards the net. Just make sure we're staying through the ball. So we'll just do a couple. Jack will hold his finish. We'll take a look. Good. So we're taking a look to see where he's at. From leg. All right. So if, again, being at home and you only have a small area with your net, obviously, I wouldn't recommend moving the tee inside, because if you hook one, I don't know, dad's car's another part of the garage or the neighbor's house. So what you can do with that to work on, say, the inside pitches, I'm gonna just angle home plate so as if the pitcher was out this way. So we're gonna kind of ignore where the white lines are here. Set the tee up on the inside quarter of the plate. And then, you know, as a hitter, again, you gotta check your feet, make sure you're square based on where home plate is. And then again, we're just still trying to hit to where the net is. So this is gonna force you to keep your hands in, turn your hips. Let the neighbors know. And then vice versa for the outside corner. I'm going to angle the plate so it's facing this way. Set it up on the outside corner. You're going to set up where you normally would. Just drive.
Even the best. Even the best.
Down and through. All right, so that's just one way to work inside, outside off the tee without, you know, having to change the equipment or have an open space or anything like that. So from there, we'll do a lot of, we'll go high tee. Let's see. So we'll work high tee, which, you know, to me, high tee is good for more your upper body and our hands. And this is going to force you to stay through, you know, stay level through the ball. If you're dropping your backside a lot, this drill is almost impossible. You're basically just going to hit the tee every time. So this will force you to work kind of, you know, I'm old school. I like to work down and then through with my top hand, palm staying up. So if I get here and I see a lot of this, there's no way you can hit that pitch up the middle. So I've even done this where I'll do it on one knee to make it even higher, just to emphasize staying through my top hand. So,
And one thing I'll comment on the high tee is that, yes, we're simulating a pitch that's up, but even more so, we're simulating a pitch that's high velocity. Just because when the ball's coming in a little bit harder, we want to really feel almost like we're swinging down. That way, in reality, you're on plane with it. So it's a great drill. I do it every single day, without a doubt. It's probably the staple tee drill that I do every single day, and it's really difficult if you want to hit a line drive to the back of the cage every time. So just being consistent with this drill is really, really important.
There was an interview at MLB.com with Trout, the way he does his tee work, and I think pretty sure he said that's what he does first. He does high tee first and works back from there, just to make sure he's staying on plane. So.
And one more thing with the high tee is we're trying to hit not necessarily a ground ball, but just a line drive. Like, we're not trying to pop the ball up, just hit a low line drive, not trying to hit this ball really that hard, but just being consistent with our bat path.
Yeah, I'd say with the tee, everything should be line drive. So if it's outside corner, it's line drive to right, inside corner, line drive to left, middle of the plate, everything back up the middle, line drives. So So then the next one we can do, which I'm a huge fan of, is the low tee. So some of you, maybe the tee doesn't, you don't have one that goes this low, but you know, again, all these you can do with soft toss as well, and front toss. If you have somebody with you, you want to work on high tee, just have them toss it high. All right, so low tee, just throw low. This one's huge for that lower half. So if I don't go down, see how he has to drive down with his back leg? That's how you hit that pitch. It's all about your legs. You got to go down and get it with your back leg. If you don't, so basically, let's see. Actually, let me finish it the wrong way. Jack's mechanics are so good, it might be difficult for him to show. So if I don't use my back leg enough, I'm going to do this all day. It's a ground ball to short, ground ball to third. All right? And you're probably going to, you know, miss the net or whatever. So the finish there, I can see I'm up here. So if I use my back knee, now I'm getting more air. So that one's great to find that back leg finish. If you're out of your back leg too much, and to me, too, me and Jack have talked a lot about this. That back leg that's launch angle. All right. So we'll start from there. So we'll just do a couple. Again, hold your finish. See where your back leg is. We'll just finish again. There it is. And you want that line to end up in the middle of your feet.
And one thing I'll say about the baby tee is that we can simulate, like once you get to a higher level, you can simulate breaking pitches where you can stride and kind of stay here with your hands back. And you can, it basically just shows the versatility of your tee drills. You can do a lot more with the tee than some people might think. So the baby tee is definitely, so we'll go to both the extremes. We'll go super high, super low, and just make sure we're covering both the extremes, and then we'll slowly start bringing it together, and then that way we'll start grooving our swing for some higher level stuff.
Yeah. So one last one I wanted to cover. I kind of skipped this start, but going back to breaking it down and going slower. This is a great one I got from Kevin Long. So we're going to go slow motion to contact and then swing, but we're not going to go full speed. But the idea is I'm going to go stride and then slow motion. And what you're looking for is that my back side gets to contact together. So everything stops at the same time. And then I want to try to work back together. So you might see this. We would say that you're disconnected. I just say here, stay connected. To me, that's what that means. So together, I'm going to reset, stride. So again, this should be perfect. If you're doing this, something's wrong. But again, that works. You're working back from the end. Make sure the end part's perfect. And then figure out how you got there instead of full speed. I don't know why I didn't hit that one. Guys, so I think you can do that inside, outside, and that's just reinforcing perfect mechanics. I like that one as a warm-up too, because it's just gets you moving the right way.
And one more thing on the tee, just we talked about it earlier about being deliberate with our practice, about like practicing perfect, so to speak. How we put the ball on the tee is actually really important for visualizing, you know, which part of the ball we're trying to attack. So there's a couple different ways you can do it, but here I'll just kind of show you. We try to put it like this with the railroad, we call them railroad tracks, just going up and down like this. And that way, when you put it on the tee itself, here, when you put the ball on the tee itself like that, and we're facing it this way, we're really trying to attack like this inside seam. So I think if you're just placing the ball on the tee any which way every time, like you're not necessarily being as deliberate as you could possibly be with your practice. So put the ball on the tee the same way every time and have a purpose for which way you're trying to attack the ball. So that's just one thing I'll add to the tee before we move on.
Oh, that's a good point. So again, you can do a million drills on the tee. So we'll go back again, actually, so just to give yourself like a progression. So go ahead and let's start from here. We'll hit, then we'll go no stride, and then stride. So this is just a quick progression. A lot of times, especially the younger guys, their lower half is late. They're not using their back leg, their back hip to throw their hands. So their hands are starting to move before their hips. So again, put your hips in that position first and then hit from there. So that's it. And feel that front leg kind of snap. Yes. One more. So this would be like you already took your stride, set your back leg, and then good. So then the next step will be no stride. And now we're just going to work on getting those legs there first and whipping our hands. So. Good. And then lastly, just put it all together. Slow stride and fire. That's it. So again, you can do that with soft toss. Start. I like to say just legs, back leg cock, no stride, full swing. And that's just a good way to get yourself moving in the right spot.
You could do facing.
Yeah.
Open facing.
So we'll go open stance. So your face basically be facing the pitcher or square. This is a really good one if you're rolling over a lot with your top hand. If it's doing too much or you're pulling your front side, this will force you to stay through the ball with your top hand palm up, as long as you can. That's basically what you're looking for. So it's open, we're going to coil, throw the hand. A little bit of coil. Coil. And that's a big, me and Jack do that one constantly, just because rolling over and pulling your front side, they're probably two of the biggest, habits people are bad. It's just human nature. So that keeps you in check. It's a good warm up. And again, you can do that from soft toss. You can do it from front toss.
The thing is, you can blend a couple of the drills we've talked about. So if you like the high tee, you can do high tee, but facing square.
Yep.
So you're feeling the same things you felt high tee, you add another element to it, and then we're just kind of building all this stuff. Just be creative with it.
Yep.
You can build on each drill and whatever you feel like something is helping you, then work with it.
Yep. So we'll do the step. Actually, let me do the ladder. There you go. So again, I know the point of this is to keep it simple without a lot of equipment. A lot of you might already have one of these at home, and if not, I know Home Depot's still open. But honestly, for especially the younger guys, this is probably the best hitting tool I've seen. And if they're having trouble with their feet, they're stepping out, they're closing off. Your feet probably won't fit. Right, we're gonna close the ladder, lay it down. Our front foot's gonna go in the top ring. We're gonna leave the middle one open, and our back foot's gonna go back here. And then we're just gonna hit from there. So, set my feet, I know where I'm at. There's enough room to stride, so I'm gonna stride, hold my finish. Again, this gives you another marker with this middle rung, head, hip, back, knee, straight line, from there, okay? To me, this drill is one of the quickest fixes. It forces you to stay balanced and keep your head still. We use it all the time in here. And, you know, as you get a little older, if your feet don't fit in a 4-foot ladder, like we made this, I don't know, a couple months ago. It was like $10 total at Home Depot. So again, just be creative, see what you have in the garage, and use it. A lot of times too, Jack and I will use
Oh, the metal bar?
Yeah.
This thing is the bane of my existence.
Yeah. So Jack likes to use this. It's literally, there used to be a garage door here. We took it apart. It was just trash, basically. And
I specifically had a problem where I know sometimes a lot of people have a problem stepping out. Sometimes I was collapsing in and stepping in. So we just stuck the metal bar down and I started striding a little better, and we just use it every day now. Just every time I'm practicing, I always have the metal bar down, just so I'm in the back of my mind, I'm conscientious of the fact that, you know, where I'm striding, the direction of my stride is important. And so if you have literally any straight, you can use a plank of wood or anything from the
piece of
garage.
tape.
Yeah.
you know, if there's a crack, whatever. So just something to line yourself up with. And again, check your finish. Did you kick it? If you have tape, did you cross the line? And if you need to, step first, make sure it's there, then swing. Just break it down. So we want the perfect reps. All right, so we'll use this next one. I call it the stepper. A lot of you probably have one of these at home. If not, anything that's just a little bit elevated, and there's even a version, you know, without it that we'll show you. So now this gets a little bit into loading our back hip and some rhythm to our swing versus just straight mechanics. So what we'll do is Jack's going to start in the middle. We're going to step back, load our hip, stride, and fire. And that just gets that load and go. So it helps just throw those hands. We're going to load his back hip. Again, with this, you know, in general, we like to preach here slow and controlled, slow and early with our load and stride. So you want to see good tempo of this, and you don't want them to rush. It shouldn't be 1, 2, go. It's slow, and then explode. Then the next progression, actually, we'll do one with just your front foot.
Oh, yeah.
So another progression with this, right? Just that front foot, and then they'll sit, stride, and go.
So stride forward.
So it's just start with your, yeah, just slide it back. So basically just the second one.
Oh.
So he's going to sit a little, and then go. Well, I'll use this one a lot. I'm a fan of, you need to gain ground with your stride to get your momentum out towards, you know, center field. So if I've seen it where they'll stride backwards a little bit. There's a leg kick or leg swing. Sometimes they're actually losing ground, which you can't get enough power like that. So this is a good one that it forces him to drive forward a little bit.
You'll call it stepping off the curb.
Yeah. Now again, if you're lunging, this isn't the drill for you. If you're getting stuck on your back leg, it's something worth trying. So again, you know, use the drills that work against the habits you're trying to break. We'll do one more. Sit a little. Good, got that. Head hit back in. Yeah, so another variation, we just call this the step back.
And this is what you can do if you don't have like an elevated surface or something. It's basically the same, works on the same things.
Yeah. So he's going to load. That's good. Another one. Get all those lids to it. I got you. Right here. Actually, I'll just do it with the. I'll do this one. So another one, if you're having trouble getting in your legs, You can kneel down on this, but I like this one off a bucket or stool. You just sit. All right, I'm going to stand. You're already in your legs in an athletic position. So if you're too tall, you're not loading in your legs enough. This is a good one to force you to start in that position and go. Another variation of that would be to kneel down on your front leg, start to stand and go.
That's just another add-on to being deliberate, right? So you can take a lot of swings off the tee in a really short amount of time, and you can be upright the whole time and not really getting in your base and getting in your legs. But if you take 10 or so swings really, really purposefully in your legs, doing a couple of these drills, like, you should start to feel it. And then you're not taking so many reps, but you have quality of your reps, and that's what's more important in our mind.
Absolutely. Next one we'll do like the Happy Gilmore.
Use the bar.
So again, this is another one. Slide this back. I'll do one. So there's a couple variations depending on how much space you have. So again, if you're getting stuck on your back leg and falling backwards, your front side's opening up. So this is one that you can do right, left. Just work on staying through the ball. Another variation of that one, this is probably for like the older guys. Okay, I'm gonna go right, left, try to finish with my back knee up and bounce. If you're falling backwards, we'll do this. You won't be able to get through. So again, just bringing our backside through, generating power, staying through the ball.
I know Reese Hoskins, Phillies player, does that every single day. The back knee through drill.
Yep.
So
Let's see what else we got.
so we go to softball.
Softball.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
idea about the questions.
So we're just real quick with soft toss. Not always as easy as it looks. A couple of pointers, for mom or dad. I like to use like a long arm, so show it, and then down and go to give them time to load. And then try to aim for their front hip. That always helped me put it in a good spot. So again, give them time to get set, give them time to take it. It's not about how fast you get through the bucket. So we'll just go regular for a couple. So I'll show it. Long arm. Finish. Looks good. Nice and balanced. That's it. Again, we can do, the variations we did where back leg's already set.
Jeez.
Next hands get sweaty. Little pine tar. That was a curveball.
I figured out what happened.
Here. Snap. Here. Do your best. Yeah. Go high, go low, all that stuff. We'll do the next one. We'll do the top bottom.
Yeah.
Top bottom. This could be a little tougher. You got to throw two at the same time. So I try to hold them like this and just throw them out so they stay top bottom. And then I'll say top or bottom right before I let go. So that way he has to adjust to which pitch it is and then swing. It's easy to fall asleep a little bit. You just kind of lay them down the middle and start going through the motions. So this will just, again, keep you focused to make it a little more realistic. So I'll show it. Top. And then just mix up which one you call. Top. Bottom. Top. Bottom. So again, just another variation to keep challenging yourself. again, we do the stepper with that. You can do the walkthrough. Every single drill we just did with the tee, you can add that into soft toss. But be careful. You can do it where for the inside pitch, I trust Jack here, but I'm a little bit more out in front of him. Curve.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So another one, this one's now a little bit more rhythm and timing versus mechanics so much. I call this one the pendulum. So again, there's a little bit of a progression here. So the first one, he's just gonna let his arms hang. All right, and we're just gonna go 1, 2, and then on that second one, I'm gonna flip it as he's going back. And then we're just gonna let that rhythm and momentum work. All right. 1, 2. If you're kind of stiff and tight, this is a good one to loosen you up and get you moving a little bit. 1, 2. All right, the progression here is the next one. Now he's going to hold the bat out pretty much to, you can put it straight at the pitcher. Right, and then we're just going to let gravity take over. And when he drops, I'm going to toss. And then again, just working our way back to a full regular stance and swing. So he goes. This is another good one. This is good for separation too. So as your hands are still kind of floating back, we're starting to stride. And that's what you're looking for. Because as that front foot lands, we need our elbow to be at shoulder height, no lower. We don't want to, that's collapsing. So this is a good one to feel that as it's happening. You know, and then obviously you work your way back to just regular swing. You get set, and then you just feel the end part of that last sit. That's a good one for rhythm. It's, you know, that one can be a little tougher because it takes timing on the guy tossing as well. What else we got? This one's tough. I'd recommend this one more with tennis balls or bounce. So this one might take you a couple to find it. So basically it's, yeah, that kind of emulates the curveball off-speed pitch. So 6, 7. It's a little tough. One more. Go get it with the back leg. Again, get creative with it. You know, whatever you have at home, use it. So skip to. I'll just show you a couple things that, you know, using.
We don't have a bat.
Tools.
Yeah.
The frisbee. Actually, we'll do the chuck it first. So a lot of you might have one of these laying around. So it's basically the chuck it. So what I'm going to do with this is, actually, I'll do this. This is going to show you where your barrel is and where your extension's at. I'll do it from this. Well, I'll do it this way. If I'm casting, you're going to see this. It's going to shoot out that way. So the adjustment is to stay, again, keep my hands in, use my hips more, and then top hand palm up, out as far as I can. So if I get it right, more up the middle. So again, these things are like 14 bucks at Petco, a bunch of tennis balls. You get those at Costco. But you might have this stuff at home already. We got, yeah, I'll use this for if someone's barring out or casting with their front arm. This is just like, I think I got this at Giant, like, and just deflated it a little bit. So we'll put it under their forearm and it's going to force them to stay here. So again, it's over exaggerating a little bit, but if they're casting, they're going to see this and it'll drop. So you could put a towel under there, a tennis ball. That's a real good one for the young guys. They tend to get out here a little bit or too tight. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a question.
So we got mini golf balls. You can use those for soft toss and all that, you know, hand-eye coordination. Or little Nerf balls. We use those a lot too. The Nerf balls work a little better. They don't break. So I guess at this point we'll kind of open it up. I hope that was helpful to give you guys some drills to add in. It's easy to get in a little bit of a routine where you do the same drills all the time. So hopefully this helps you get some ideas on how to mix it up a little bit. But so right now, just if you have a question or comment or anything, just type it into the chat and we'll do our best to kind of keep up with it and address them as we go. So fire away.
I think in the meantime, I'll mention that John and I, every day that we come in here to hit, we hit off the tee and we do some sort of flipping soft toss before we do anything else. So, and we do take dry swings almost every single day. So I don't think to neglect the importance of this would be foolish. So,
And, you know, another thing too is everybody's at home and has a lot of time. You got YouTube, Instagram, you know, go out there and look at this stuff, because what I like to see is how you're going to see major leaguers, all-stars hitting off the tee, doing the high tee drill. So, you know, as a younger player, it's good to see, you know, a lot of these drills can be boring and seem like they're not that fun. But if the guys who are at the highest level are still doing tee drill, one-hand drill, it shows you how important it is to keep, you know, the basics and the mechanics. Because I think you have to work once you figure it out, you have to work just as hard to keep it. Otherwise, you will lose it. So, but it's good to show the young guys that the best guys are still doing all these little drills. If you want to be good, that's what it comes down to. So, what do we got here? Copy of the recording. Yeah, I think we should be able to get this out on. We'll put it on our YouTube.
And we'll send out all the drills we do. We'll type up what we did, and we'll send out everyone who's in this Zoom call should get a copy of the drills we did. So, and we've also been shooting a lot of the T1s we've been shooting and putting on our Instagram too. So, and we'll do more of those. A lot of the drills that you see here will some way, shape, or form make their way onto the Instagram page in the next week or so.
Yep. We'll keep it to drill questions. Reps a day. Oh, what's supposed to be drill for? Honestly, I think for Jack has been that piece of metal and squaring his feet up. He was drifting in a little bit with his stride, and at his level now, you know, he went from seeing, you know, low 90s to now upper 90s with movement. So in order to catch up to that, I have to get my hips out of the way for me to stay inside the ball. So if my hips don't clear, right, I can't get here, right? They don't clear, my hands go first. You're going to get long. What drills help you the most?
Yeah, I mean,
We know who.
that one's tough just because we noticed it like a lot more once we started moving back.
And
Like
the velocity.
So like when we're off the tee, like you can get away with a lot of stuff. I think that's something that's important to note. Like you can get away with some bad habits just because the ball's right there. And even so far as batting practice or underhand flips, you can get away with having some bad habits. So like one suggestion I'd have would be like to try and have someone take a look and see, you know, like why am I starting to miss the balls in the games that I like think I should be hitting? And then we kind of diagnosed it a little bit, and that's what we kind of came up with was our stride was incorrect, and fixing that is actually proved to be really
And it just helps when your front side's coming in, but you have to get your back hip through. You're fighting yourself. So it just enabled Jack to really use his hips more and now get his hands out in front faster so he can catch up to, you know, mid high 90s but drive the ball as well. So next one, and just actually going back to that, and it was that simple. So a Division I hitter just keeping his feet, his stride just a little bit more straight. And unfortunately with baseball, that's the difference between a foul ball and a line drive. So again, pay attention to the details and every rep. So the next one, how many reps a day for drill? I would say if you're doing it right, you're using your legs. We're real big on your lower half here. Depending on your age, you'll get tired quicker, but I would say 12 reps, and you should need to step out for a second and check, shake the legs out a little bit. But it's like anything else. Once you start to get tired, your mechanics are going to go out the window a little bit. So
each rep, you shouldn't be worried about whether you're tired or not in between reps, just because like the most important thing for us is getting quality reps in. And you're never going to step into a box in the game and feel like tired. You shouldn't, at least for the most part. So that's most important. It's kind of funny. We've taken less reps over time, but our workouts kind of got longer almost because we're kind of focused on each rep, and we talk to each other all the time about like what we're feeling and why we're doing what we're doing. Because I feel like your purpose for your drill is going to drive your consistency in that drill. If you don't know why you're doing a certain drill, you're not going to be consistent in that drill. So that's just being consistent and purposeful, probably the two biggest keywords that we every day.
And time-wise, just from the way we structure our lessons, if you're just hitting half hour, 45 minutes, longer than that, you should be tired by then if you're doing it the right way. So if you're on the younger side, I would say no more than a half hour. And the other side too, if you hit too long, you start getting blisters and stuff. Now you can't, it's going to affect the way you're swinging. And now you can't hit for a couple days because your hands are bleeding and stuff. So, but again, kind of we've talked about with our strength and conditioning, like listen to your body. If you feel like you're losing it, you're getting gassed, don't keep going. It's not about, I took 5,000 swings yesterday. Well, 450 of them were wrong. 4,000 were wrong. You're not getting anything done there. So, what else we got? What was the most? Jack, what was your still reps? Okay, we got that. Should you throw before you hit to warm up? That doesn't really. That's up to you. Yeah.
When I come in here, the most important thing that I try and get loose before I hit is my lower back. Just because I feel like when I'm swinging a lot, like you kind of just get some tension like that builds up in your lower back. And some of the stuff like Taylor and I do, Taylor's a strength guy on deck. We'll do some like deep breathing stuff and just do whatever it takes kind of get your body loose, and you should feel like loose and ready to go before you really start like taking max effort swings, so I wouldn't say you have to throw before you hit per se, even though that's kind of how it goes in the game. You show up to the field, you play some catch, and then you end up taking batting practice, but it's really up to you. Really just listen to your body. Like you should know when you feel loose. You should know if something's like bugging you, you can put the bat down for the day. Like it's more important that you're healthy over anything else.
I now that I think about it, I would probably hit first, because if anything I've noticed is people don't warm up enough before they throw. So at least your arms and hips and legs are already warmed up from hitting before you throw. Let's see the next one. The best drill is for keeping your eyes on the ball. There's a couple of them. So I would say, that head still to start as just a warm up to be able to do your full swing without your head pulling away. So if you're doing that drill where you're staring straight across and every time you finish your head's getting yanked away, you're probably swinging one too hard, which is just as bad a habit as anything else mechanically. But it depends how creative you want to get. If you want to put different colored dots on the ball and say, maybe use 3 colors like black, blue, red, and you're doing toss and say, don't swing at the red ones, or just flip and say, what color was it? that's a good one to just, you know, make sure you're seeing the ball all the way through.
I can say one thing. Like when we're talking about a lot of our drills, we're talking about keeping our head still, and well, your eyes are in your head. So if your head's still, inevitably your eyes are going to be able to track the ball a little bit better. So I'd say the first thing you need to diagnose is your head moving when you swing. So if your head's moving when you swing, you're not going to have your eyes on the ball. Even if you're looking at the ball, it just, there's too many things moving around because the ball is already moving. Let's just try and keep the ball moving as the number one thing. And so just like when we do our drills, sometimes if I pull off a couple of jumps, be like, hey, keep your head on the ball the whole time, and I'll just swing and I'll just watch the bat hit the ball all the way, and I won't even like care where the ball goes. So we'll be off the tee, I'll just hit, and we won't even look at where the ball goes because when we're practicing the ball, where the ball goes sometimes doesn't even really matter. So we're just trying to really focus on, you know, tracking the ball all the way in and just hit it and just following it with our eyes. I think it's more of like a mentality thing. Is you got to really focus to see the ball.
And if I would say if you can't, mechanically you're probably using your arms and shoulders too much. So whenever your head's not staying down, it's not your head, it's your shoulders and upper body are doing too much work. So I would say go a little easier up top and start to feel your hips work a little more. But like Jack said, I like that one. If you're hitting off the tee, I've done it, you know, in my lessons, I'll say, see an empty tee. So just swing, and you shouldn't move, you should be staring at an empty tee. To go with that, in the next question about a drill with the lanes. So I haven't really done one with the colors, but this is a good one. I'm just going to show you. We're not going to demonstrate it really. This one's more, this would be if somebody's, you know, front tossing. It's hard to do with tee or soft toss, but so what we'll do is we'll line up. So I got 6 balls out in front of home plate. I don't know if you can see, but it's angled where this one on the outside corner for me is right in front of home plate, and then it kind of works its way out. So each ball is a lane. So lane 1 would be like the inside corner, then lane 2, lane 3, lane 4, lane 5, lane 6. And what we'll do is we'll do this with front toss. So you'll start with, you know, hit it, tell me what lane it was in. So that way, if I'm out in front, you might say, oh, that was a 5. Actually, it was a 3. So maybe you're too far away from home plate. So it gives you instant feedback. This is probably one of my favorite drills for front toss. Or, you know, you might get jammed and say, oh, that was a 1. No, actually, it was a 3. Well, either you're barring out or you're too close to home plate. Then with that, what you can do, we'll go through that round and say, all right, well, which ones are which one do you hate the most? Usually it's 1s and 5s, inside corner, outside corner. So then what we'll do there is 1, like we talked about in the beginning, when you're hitting off the tee, you should probably spend a little bit more time on 1s and 5s than 3s and 4s. Also, that's a good way to, and I wasn't sure if I should get into this too much, but as far as developing an approach, I think this is the best drill to do that. So if I don't like 1s and 5s, when I go up to, again, when I'm in the game, and I have a 2-0 count, 3-1 count, I shouldn't be swinging at a 1 and a 5, 0-0 count. All right, I'm going to let those go until I have 2 strikes or until I get better at hitting them. And that's a good way to start to break up the strike zone instead of like, oh, what's your plan up there? Like, swing at a strike? You know, there's certain strikes you don't hit very well. I don't want to swing at those with less than 2 strikes. So that's a good way to just work on inside, outside, pitch recognition, you know, keeping your head down so that you see what lane it was in. But it's a great drill to just give you instant feedback for where you're at.
Well, if I'm struggling with a specific pitch, we'll just take a ball and we'll just place it wherever on the plate it is. And then once the workout, the ball will just stay on that part of the plate. Just kind of the back of your head, you know, you just visualize, you know, certain spots, and you can use the tee to work on that. But that's the best thing about the tee is you can control everything. You can control the height, where it is on the plate, everything is controlled, and then that's where you kind of groove your swing for that specific spot.
So true. Do we do, no, we haven't done lessons over Zoom yet. We've been thinking about it, but we'll blast that out though. So the hard part with that is just figuring out what you have at home to use to decide what drills we can do with you, but we're definitely going to look into that. Cool. All right, that looks like it. So, hopefully that was helpful. I know we threw a lot at you. We'll try to put this together in more of a presentation that we can send out. But please don't hesitate to reach out. info@ondecktrainingcenter.com, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff's there. But please send a message of, hey, could you cover this topic? Or I'm having trouble with figuring out how to work on this. I think next time we'll maybe do a defense one with ground balls, what you can do at home, and pitching. So we'll just keep doing these until we're allowed back outside, I guess. So again, thanks for tuning into this. We'll get it out onto our YouTube channel and all that stuff. And please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions, any feedback. Just like you guys, we're always looking to get better ourselves with how we get this information out to you guys. So thanks again. Everybody stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.